All right, let's start the bumper music and get rolling.
Okay.
Hey, welcome to the Fancaste episode 33. Join me tonight, all the way from New York. It's Liquid Metal Pro.
For $13 an hour, I did not inhale.
And also returning, the infamous Coach Loudie.
I'm Coach Loudie, and I eat ass.
And tonight I'm your joyful host, Brainmuffin, the lifting nerd. So how was everybody tonight?
Oh, I'm doing okay. Spent the day touching myself inappropriately. Went to my cousin's birthday dinner. Got kicked out of the restaurant for touching myself inappropriately. So,
Hey,
I have that going for me, I guess, which is nice.
you're beating Phil with that.
Well,
So,
that answers the question I was about to ask you.
well, I don't remember. I guess it may have been on the Patreon thing and not the show, but they were talking about, I know what it's like to be almost kicked out of Hofbrauhaus because Phil keeps yelling cunt. Although I never heard him yell it. I was talking so much with somebody. You weren't there, right, Loudie, that night?
No, I was not. I came later in the night.
Oh, okay. You joined.
That's
right. You joined us at the bar.
Yeah. I joined you guys at that one bar in northern Kentucky.
Yeah, wherever that was. Somewhere down Monda.
Babesies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was good. But, and I also knocked over a glass. I was animated, I don't know what the heck I was talking about. Because I hadn't been drinking much at that point, and I broke a glass at Hofbrau, and that's basically when Jeff was like, yeah, just bring us our checks, we'll get out of here.
Yeah.
But that was a good night. I mean, that was, you guys kept me up way too late, and I think I was laid off the next week. That was in January, wasn't it?
No, yeah, that was in January.
Yeah. Because Kendo came back
you
down.
You were laid off.
That was, or no, was it late January or early? That was the weekend of.
It was late January because that was the weekend of the Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble, yeah. Yeah. I can't remember if I was still working that week or I was about to get laid off. Well, technically they put me on furlough for 2 weeks, but I found another job anyway. Although they did help me find that job, so that's where I am now.
Well,
I just ended my fourth week. So yeah, that was a good time. That was because then we had Royal Rumble the next day, right?
That's Sunday because that was a Friday night.
Was that Friday? Okay.
Yeah, because Dion wasn't there yet. Dion came the following day.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then, because in Monday, because I was on furlough Monday because I had breakfast with Dion and Jeff and Kendo. Yeah. And I thought I was late. I got there and I'm like, where the heck are these guys? And I kept messaging Jeff and he wasn't answering. And he finally, we just go up. And I'm like, geez, dude. I got us a table.
When they party hard, they party really hard.
I was there when he told. Actually, I was there like 15 minutes late from when he told me. And now, granted, I forget where we met for breakfast, but I got I sat with at the table with the cutest waitress in the place, and I think she's starting to wonder, does this guy really have friends? This poor old man. I was actually I was actually one of the youngest people in that place. I mean, everybody else was in their 60s and 70s. It was like a geriatric convention.
Was it senior citizens morning at the restaurant or what?
Yeah, I think it was Monday. Everybody else was working, so the only people there were retired folk and homeless, and that was me.
But, I mean, I was at work. I can tell you that.
Yeah, January 28th is when Royal Rumble was, and
that's
Dion.
Right.
How far into that? Dion got both on the women's and the men's. He was out by the fourth round, fifth round.
Yeah, well, it's if you accumulate it by minutes, Dion's 3 participants in the men's Royal Rumble lasted all of 1 minute and 12 seconds, I think, combined, and then his women's ones that they didn't fare much better. So,
and the same chick won both of them too.
No, the same nationality won both of them.
No. The chick that
had
the picks.
Yeah. Mallory won both Rumbles and $300, and I was perturbed.
The hatred of everyone.
Oh yes, she garnered the hatred of everyone,
So, except me, because I thought it was funny because I wasn't participating. So, Kendo got me out of it. So, yeah, by then I was more or less unemployed. Wasn't being paid. That's what they call furlough. So, Local Metal Pro, I know you like wrestling. Did you watch any of the Royal Rumble? I know we're kind of going back a couple months, but hey, it's our show. We can do whatever we want.
Royal Rumble both excited me and made me feel happy to be a wrestling fan, and also pissed me off simultaneously.
Yeah.
All right, I need you to elaborate on that.
Well, I was happy because the men's Rumble really did not disappoint. We had the return of Rey Mysterio. That was for a moment there, I thought he was going to win it. Like, it just looked so, it was just so good. It was just so, like you ever watch, like, old pay-per-views? You remember that excitement when you watch these major events, these major, like the Big Four especially. It was like just feeling that, yeah, like it was just getting that feeling back. And then came the women's Rumble, which was just so, like they started patronizing it, like, from the very beginning, like trying to make it such a big deal that, like, I get it, it's a big deal, but don't overdo it. And, like, it was sloppy at parts. Michelle McCool was just botching all over the place. I was hoping Lita wouldn't kill herself accidentally,
like she almost did in that moonsault.
Oh man, Sasha Banks.
See, here's the
ring, like, every minute.
Yeah. So here's the thing about Lita. Even in her prime, her moonsaults weren't the best. You thought, this looks a little, I think she might die. And then this past Royal Rumble, it's like, oh my God, she almost died. So, it was pretty much, I was always a fan of Lita. But, just, I don't know. I mean, I get, using your platform as a platform, if you will. But I just think the hashtag #MeToo gimmick was just unnecessary for her to have plastered on her chest. Just go out there and wrestle. All right. For 4 hours, I just want to sit here and be entertained. Don't put your politics in my face.
I agree. That's part of the problem I had with the women's Rumble. Like even the fact that the men's Rumble was before it. At that point, I was like, shit, I have a feeling they're going to do something later tonight. And sure enough, they pulled some stunt where it wasn't too in your face, but it was still there.
Right.
I mean, hopefully they tone it down a bit in the coming months. I don't think there's really any other first women's matches you can make unless you bring back the bra and panties match, in which case we will have the first ever of the new era. I welcome that with the talent we have currently. But
it's never gonna happen, bro. That's behind us, man.
Oh, fuck.
And I could tell you. All right, so and I know this. We don't typically talk wrestling on this podcast, but you struck a chord with me, and I really want to continue talking about the Rumble for a minute, only because I have some grievances to air about it.
Well,
so
go ahead. I mean, we probably might have the same grievances.
Go for it, man.
Yeah. So
if I get bored, I'll cut you.
All
off.
right. Fair enough. I can dig it. Thanks, Laper. All right. So here's my thing about the Rumble. The men's Rumble was fantastic. The women's Rumble, not bad. They were placed on the wrong parts of the card. I get that the women's Royal Rumble is historic, and I can get why they put it on last. All right. But if you're going based off of, the impact of each Rumble and how it played out, the men's Royal Rumble should have gone on last because people would have been left feeling a high, like, oh my God, that was probably one of the best Rumbles I've seen in forever. And if that's how you end it, people are going to want to come back and see more. How did you end it? You end it with Ronda Rousey coming out there in what looked like her dad's jacket. Now, I know that was Roddy Piper's jacket given to her by one of his kids, but that jacket was way too fucking big for her. It looks like she bought it off from a fucking secondhand homeless man. And she was fucking swimming in that thing. And these women just came out here and also had a fucking hard-fought Rumble and busted their ass, and you're going to piss all over them just like, oh, hey, I'm too good to be in the Rumble. Let me just come out here and stare at all the champions and point at a sign, and we'll go from there. Now, and honestly, that was a waste of a fucking spot because now we're getting ready for Ronda Rousey to be in a fucking mixed tag team match, which is rumored to main event Mania this year.
Sorry, give me 1 second, right, guys?
Yeah, all right.
All right. Well, mute yourself so we don't get all the background noise.
Yeah.
So, well,
Leif, I know you're a huge wrestling fan. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, let me give you my perspective as someone who's a pseudo wrestling fan, and was back when I was in 7th grade. I was somewhat of a fan, 7th and 8th grade, I guess.
Right.
Right. I didn't mind so much them putting the women on the main event. I know what they were trying to do, and a lot of it was probably was it Stephanie McMahon? Is that who was running that stuff?
Yeah, that. I would say it's a mixture of her.
Yeah.
She's the chief brand officer.
And all right, and I understand what they're trying to do, but when Ronda came out, I was wondering what she was wearing, and I understand that the jacket's too big, but she stood there way longer than it was necessary, and it was almost like I'm thinking, is she forgetting what she's supposed to do? She had the momentum, and then didn't do anything for way too long. I'm like, okay, this is way too far long a pregnant pause. This is like for quadruplets or something. And then she points to the sign, and I was like, okay, I get it. I know what she's hinting at, but I was like, okay, here's a former MMA champ, and so what? You don't like real competition? You need to be part of a soap opera competition? It just felt odd to me, but there's been other people that have entered wrestling from other sports and things. Sometimes they might get injured or don't want to do it anymore or whatever, and
right,
the women's it's kind of like on a lot of sports where men and women
sorry guys,
all right, do compete. They don't compete against one another, obviously, but
right.
It's the energy level is so much lower because you have someone, even the strongest ones have what, half or less the strength of a man. I mean, obviously a man who's training, someone who's never lifted a weight, these women can probably pick that guy up over their head. But, they got fatigued quicker, and you could tell that, they rolled out of the ring a little bit more. The pace felt slower. I don't, and I don't, granted, I don't know how much of that is in the program that they want it, that needs to take long, or someone, some director was whispering in the ear saying, hey, wait a minute, we're ahead of schedule or whatever. But the men's rumble had a bit more energy to it. And, but I think if you would have had the women first and ended with Ronda like that, I think that would have been a little weird. I think if you would have had the women first, then the men, you'd probably have to have the women's champion come back out into the ring, kind of a victory lap for both of them. Then you have Ronda come out. So, which actually in some ways may have been better, because then you're like, well, who's she interrupting? There's a little bit of mystery there, right. Exactly what's going on. But I enjoyed. I had far more enjoyment with the crowd that was there at Phil's than the actual entertainment. I mean, Dion was just too much. Between Dion and Nick, what is that guy's? What do you guys call him? Nick.
Nickety Rickett.
Nickety Rick, yeah, Nicky Rickett, yeah, and
yeah. Well, his name is Nick Rickett, but we call him Nickety Rickett, or we call him Rickett. I call him Faggot for short. But...
yeah. So, what was it? Jeff said the other was it, I think last week's show? He said he looks more like a woman every time I see him, or something like that.
Yeah, the fucker's always wearing a god. Okay, so Phil. Look, so he lives with Phil.
Yeah, I know.
And yeah, so. At one point they both had long hair, and they were both wearing headbands in their hair like fucking girls. And every time we go over, like it just seems like their hair would get longer and longer and longer to that point. Well, Phil finally got his cut, but Rickett refuses, so he can put his back in somewhat of a ponytail.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jeff is absolutely right. He looks more and more like a woman every time I see him.
So, yeah, it was good. So you got anything else you want to talk about on the Royal Rumble there, LMP?
Sorry about jumping out like that, guys. Like I said, I had family and people ordering food, and like, this is what happens when you live with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what are they ordering? I want some.
Well, we had Chinese takeout, so I would offer you some right now, but I know I don't think I could smush the food within the tablet port, so I don't know how. Whenever they invent the technology, I'll gladly share some.
His upload bandwidth isn't large enough.
Well, it doesn't help when the only way I can get Wi-Fi service is when I stick the Ethernet cable in my own burro's ass, use as antenna.
Well, there is that.
Well, but anyways, no, the last thing you was talking about was the Rousey thing. I definitely have my grievances with Rousey, mostly because Rousey, yeah, I bought into the hype in the beginning, but once the streak was over for her, like, the magic faded. Like, she just wasn't the same. I could not see her the same way ever again. And then there was the stuff that I didn't even know about her before her loss to Holly Holm. Like, for example, all the shit that she talked about her, Holly Holm being a good sport about it, and then eventually came the very anticipated comeback against Nunez, which she got destroyed a second time in her career. And it was obvious at that point, okay, you're not exactly the fighter they made you out to be. There was there was a lot of good PR that you had, and Dana White definitely went to bat for you, but you're not this convincing fighter you once were. So it's like, in the world of wrestling right now, kayfabe is dead, essentially. Like, Ronda Rousey coming to WWE is just weird.
Yeah.
I mean, Lesnar still is a monster. Yes, he had a few losses here and there, and there are a few people that can make the man run scared, but he's still a monster even in UFC. Like, Ronda Rousey, you've got destroyed twice, one of which basically led to you retiring. So you're coming to WWE as what? Because it's easier for you, it's staged for you. Like, I get it, you're a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other wrestling fans out there, but you're not really helping the product in my mind. And this whole here's the other thing. This is your debut, right? This is your debut at the Rumble. Asuka just won it. We just had what was it when the two champions came out?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were ringside.
Yeah. The mystery there was, okay, well, who's she going to challenge? Is she going to go for Alexa Bliss, or is she going to go for Charlotte Flair? Either would have been I mean, obviously most people want to see the Charlotte Flair one. I would have been okay with the Bliss one because, from a story point stand view, it could have headed that way as well. I would have been fine either way. But you came out and disrupted it. Really, what I think would have been was bad timing. Like, you could have held it. You could have made a debut during the Rumble. Just taking an elimination or eliminating yourself, whatever. Probably would have made more of an impact, and it probably would have felt more natural.
Right.
As opposed to coming out at the end and stealing the thunder from Asuka, who I would assume would easily destroy her in a match. Like, we would see, like, Asuka would basically have to feed her moves to make her look a little more competent. I don't think Ronda's going to be this great wrestler that fans are making her out to be already. And
well, I can tell you, if her wrestling skills are as good as her promo skills, then yeah, it's going to be a rough ride.
It's going to be rough. But here's here's like my major grievance about all this. The Mania match, right? The Mania match is her versus Stephanie McMahon, and with the two with Kurt Angle and I guess Triple H.
She's tagging with Kurt Angle versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Yeah.
Like, who wants this match? Who is asking for this match?
The shareholders, probably, because they think it's going to be a money match.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be a money match.
I think it would have been a money match several years ago. I mean, after she was in the Expendables, and this is when she got back into the MMA fighting. It was one of the things that I was wondering is how much of this other Hollywood crap has been a distraction. And, I think she was a legit champion, but it's just her style kind of took people off guard. But once they understood how to defeat it, it didn't, two different people defeated her. I mean, I saw a little bit of, I forget which match it was. I think it was the first one when she returned. When she got hit once, she didn't know where she was.
The Holly Holm one?
Yeah. I mean, that was over in 15 seconds? I mean, it was over quick.
Yeah. Well, this is actually something that, after her first loss, I actually started watching some YouTube videos about it. I think there was a boxing channel. I can't remember the name of it. If I ever find the video, I'll share it. Where they said one of the weaknesses that Ronda had was the fact that she had lack of how to deal with boxing as a style. Like she really didn't meet anybody who was as competent with it. And Holly Holm was, more than capable of throwing punches as well as, maneuvering around someone like her. Like Ronda's main thing is the judo, and that was pretty much it. Like she never, I guess at some point she got into her head, hey, I'm 10 wins in, I'm no one can touch me. Obviously, there are women out there that she could have faced, Cyborg being one of them, that was never going to happen. So it's kind of like she had this false sense of security, I guess. Obviously, there's always people that are going to adapt to your style, so you got to learn how to adapt or prepare for those things. So, and there was also the whole thing that she was talking a lot of shit about Holly Holm. Again, that I didn't know about that until much, much later. And I think it was after that first loss, she went on the Ellen DeGeneres show and started crying, saying how she was contemplating suicide because it ran in her family or retiring and having her boyfriend's baby. And I'm like, okay, this completely shatters the image you built up for like the longest period of time. I don't know how many years since you first started that streak. You built this image of this tough girl that, you can, even in the Expendables, you were beating up these dudes at a bar. Like people actually looked up to you and thought, you were actually hot shit. And you just, in a matter of one loss, completely destroyed our perception of you. So when you came back with that match against Nunez, you really had to like wow us and win us back. And for me, I can only say this for me especially, that second loss, that second, I guess, suicide, I'll have to call it that because I don't know what she was thinking. Holy shit, Nunez destroyed her. The Lioness killed her in that damn ring. I don't think I've seen anything like. I'm pretty sure she had to have had like some plastic surgery or something done that day because that face was not looking pretty. Oh my god! And I just question this whole her injected herself into WWE right now. The product is not getting any better by the day, but God, like I can't even watch wrestling anymore sometimes without having to be on my phone or change the channel, or sometimes I'm even playing on my Switch while I'm watching wrestling. I was like, I don't remember ever doing this during the Attitude Era. I definitely still enjoyed the Ruthless Aggression era when back when Cena was more tolerable, Batista was the man. Edge was probably on top of the world as a heel. Ray was the biggest thing out there. Like I was not like distracted during wrestling, and then it just slowly started declining, and to this point where I don't even know what product I'm watching now. I don't even know why I'm watching it.
Yeah, I understand. Even as a casual fan. Go ahead.
So you're watching it because it's habit, because you've been doing it for years and you don't know how to stop.
Yeah, it's kind of like whacking off. Like after a while, you're like, damn, how do I stop doing this?
Don't get married.
There's support groups out there for this.
There probably are. I'm not going to any of them, so listen. I don't know. I'm just mad. Like the Rumble itself, I just think that they hammered in too much the whole historic significance of the first ever Women's Rumble, because if we go to the next pay-per-view that came up, I don't know how you felt about Elimination Chamber, Loudie, but I really enjoyed the Women's Elimination Chamber match. It really felt a lot better than the men's match. The men's match had some momentum going, but then it got killed off relatively fast. The less said about the ending, the better.
Yeah. Oh, don't be started on the ending. But no, the women's wasn't too bad. It was definitely entertaining. I'm gonna give Bliss more credit than I feel like a lot of people are gonna give her. That twisted Bliss off the top of one of those cells was awesome. She didn't almost kill herself like Sasha Banks would have if she did something like that. Let's see. That's all I got for that. I mean, it was a decent match, but
yeah. I mean, I honestly, people feel like Bliss is over. Some people feel like she's overrated, Bliss, but I think she's she's good. She does what she does. She does it great. She's a natural heel. There was something that really struck me as odd lately is that now they want to have her feud with Nia Jax. and over what, a fat joke, like
Yeah.
that, and people were actually saying in the comment section. I sometimes check the comment sections on YouTube when they post the videos, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Wow, like WWE's really been bringing back the fat shaming thing. Like, are we going back to Piggy James?" And I'm like, "Listen, Piggy James was fat shaming. That was like completely uncalled for on so many levels, but it made sense within the narrative that you had these two individuals just insulting her, calling her names and everything. You're supposed to hate the heel. Have the majority of wrestling fans become so sensitive that now a person calling another person fat is going too far? It doesn't make for a
Welcome
good
to 2018, man.
What happened?
I said, welcome to 2018, man.
Yeah, what happened to Trump's America?
Yeah.
This isn't Trump's America. This is not Yidge.
Yeah, no, it ain't. It's Snowflake America.
It really
Yeah,
is.
exactly. It really is. It's ridiculous. But I don't know, man. I mean, I'm looking forward to the match because I know who's gonna win. But I feel like Nia's long overdue. And I know if you talk to the guys, they always talk about how she's not talented and this, that, and the other. I don't think she's that bad. I personally like Nia Jax. I think she's decent in the ring. They're not fans. We're all entitled to our opinions. They'll have theirs and I'll have mine. It's not going to change the fact that we're all friends at the end of the day, obviously, because it's just fucking wrestling. But I feel like it's going to be good to have her as champ. My only problem is that I feel like as soon as she wins the belt, if she does win the belt at Mania, they'll put her up against fucking Ronda Rousey, and quite frankly, I just don't think that's going to turn out well for anybody.
I mean, Nia Jax, I just feel that with Nia Jax, they dropped the ball early on. Part of it might have been her fault, but part of it was that she probably was still a bit green, and they were trying to put her out there so quick. But I mean, it's kind of like what happened with Strowman. Strowman in the beginning was like we like what happened with Strowman in the beginning. You saw, I can't describe it into words. And now look at him. Look at him right now. Like, look where he's at. He's instantly became out in a short matter of time when he got repackaged and everything. One of my favorite wrestlers out there. He's entertaining as hell. Yeah. Great in the ring. Promo wise, short, sweet, and to the point. It's funny because in many ways I feel Strowman is what Roman should have been, and isn't. It really should have been. Roman really should have been like that, and it never happened, and it probably never ever will, and it probably might be too late at this point. With Nia, she essentially felt like the female version of Big Show, but there's still some time to salvage that. So hopefully, WWE doesn't do something stupid like give it to Rousey immediately, or God forbid, have her lose to Sasha Banks for like the umpteenth time, and lose the belt to her.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't want to just keep hating on Sasha Banks, but
it's okay. This is a Sasha Banks hate area. We can hate on Sasha Banks.
She's hot. I get it. She's appealing.
Sure, if you want women who look like fucking aliens.
It's just the forehead for me. It's just the forehead. I could put a bag over the head. Everything else is fine.
Yeah, but it's still gonna fucking be there.
Listen, if there was any way I could put someone else's face on her body and just go to town on it, I would. But that sort of technology does not exist yet.
I mean, it does. Have you not seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
I don't know if I feel comfortable doing that on two women. Yeah, I would get a bit squeamish at that point. I'm like, damn, this is really fucked up. Even I could be the one doing it, and I could still do it to completion. It could be a great job done too, like a masterpiece, and I'll still be like, "Fuck, I can't believe I did that." But I honestly, I don't know about you, but have you ever gotten this vibe that they try to make Sasha Banks into Eddie Guerrero, even though she has none of the charisma the man ever had, or anything that should tie her ever to his legacy?
Abso-fucking-lutely, I do. It's like, oh great, she liked Eddie Guerrero growing up. Let's make her Eddie Guerrero. and she's not Eddie Guerrero.
He's not. She can't hold it. She doesn't got the charisma. She doesn't got the ability. She's just a fan. And at the end of the day, that I think that's another problem I have also with a certain other female
Bailey?
wrestler. Yeah. It's like they just made their characters are just glorified wrestling fans that just so happen to be cosplaying as a wrestler.
Yeah. It's like, I would say she couldn't hold a candle to Eddie Guerrero, but I don't even think she could hold the candle to hold it up to Eddie Guerrero, is my opinion.
Well, she'll probably botch it and break someone else's neck and end their career short-lived.
Oh, shit.
Well, at least we know Paige is good for porn. So.
Oh, yeah, that's, I guess.
And God bless her for taking anal.
Yeah, God bless her for something.
Did you just derail the show, LMP? It's like kind of stop. So you guys done with your wrestling?
I'm done with wrestling. I mean, that's fine with me. I know, like I said, I feel bad for taking us off.
No.
There's other stuff we want to get to.
Hey, Ring Rust isn't around anymore, and
Yeah.
I know the early episodes that I watched. I think you and Kendo kind of made that listen to that show. And when Kendo wasn't
listenable,
there, well, the energy just wasn't there. And Dan and Phil, I know Phil tried to do it was a host one night. I mean, I did listen to that one, but you didn't have that, so your energy was very quickly drained. And Dan's just kind of a silent participant, even on the regular show. But Dan's like that in real life. I mean, he just kind of sits there and observes. He's kind of like Silent Bob, right? He kind of lets everyone else ramble, and then he'll say something, and then we
he'll have his one moment in the sun, but in reality, he's had his moment in the sun the entire time just by his no action.
Right,
which is fantastic. Which is what I love about Dan. That's a great comparison. He really is Silent Bob. Like, he won't say anything. He'll just do looks, and he'll look at you like, "The fuck did you just say?" or whatever. And then halfway through, like 75% of the way through the night, we're almost at the end, and he'll just be like, "What the fuck?" And then he'll just, it's fantastic. But as far as Ring Rust goes, it sucks it's not around anymore. Sucks it didn't take off. Love my last standing Samoan to death, but I do get tired of when he decides to point out how much more successful that show is compared to World Class Bullshitters is compared to Ring Rust, because it's like, you know what, we tried, all right, and trust me, you're not going to find a happier person than me that World Class Bullshitters is successful, because I may not have been on it, but I've always been behind it since day one.
Yeah,
and like I said, the things that Jeff and those guys are doing over there is fantastic. And I'm always, and I know Kendo did stats recently. I was on about 25, 35 episodes, and I'm always gonna, I'm gonna love those. It was fantastic. But I knew that, the way Jeff was taking it, I might not have been a good fit. So when he took me off, I understood. Because and this is something that he and I talked about one night. I was like, I enjoyed being on the podcast because when we were on it, it was just like we were all hanging out. Especially when I was living in Columbus, it was great to hang out with my friends, have a good time, whatever. And which leads to the next point, is that the fact that it's become so much more successful now, it's a business for him.
Right.
He's always taken it seriously, but now instead of putting 110% into it, he's putting 210% into it.
Right.
And like I said, I couldn't be more proud of the guy. But when he's got subscribers and things of that nature, and he's got a certain demographic to appeal to, I may not be able to contribute that. Like, my comic book knowledge is little if none.
Right.
When it comes to my Hollywood business, I'll go out and see movies with the guys. I could break it down from a cinematic standpoint, but as far and I might be able to pick out some little nuances here and there, as far as like with Black Panther, sitting there, like I could pick out two scenes where it got way too political for me, and I had about enough of it. But other than that, they do something with it. I mean, and it's hard for me to place a finger on, but they do something with that show that I don't think I could contribute to. I loved being able to, give a laugh every now and again. I may have had a few good nuggets of wisdom here or there, but as far as being consistent, Jeff, that's what Jeff needs, and I don't think that knowledge-wise, I could be that consistent for it.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm perfectly fine being on the Fancast and breaking down the breakdown. Yeah.
Well, you look at, I started listening to some of the early episodes after I found you guys, in my funk after The Force Awakens. And there were some good shows with Callahan. He and Jeff went back and forth a little bit. You were on, then you were off, back and forth. And then some nights it was chaos when everybody was there and everybody was wanting to talk. And then even now, some episodes it's pretty much 85% Dion, and other episodes he says 17 words, and the style. I think this past year started off. They were starting to gain momentum. I think there was like 2017, not 18. It was 2,000 I think subscribers at the beginning. You and I met obviously that November before, but but 2016 was a very integral year. But you were still. I mean, I remember some of the early shows where Phil's commenting on all 9 of our listeners, and Ring Rust. I think it needed to go on for a long time, and we don't have a whole lot of listeners on this, or at least subscribers. We get a decent count on my own channel. I mean, good grief, I've been at it for years, and my you talk about up or down. I've got videos with over 50,000 views, and I got videos that have 12 views, and they've been on there 4 years. As much as I like doing beer reviews, if I want to look at what people are actually watching on my channel, it's my most watched video is actually one that my daughter and I did kind of impromptu on vacation, and people like her back talking me, and the comments aren't very nice, but some of my highest watched videos, one of my most popular videos right now, and has been for months, is a review I did of protein powders from Aldi. This was the Millville protein powders. Now granted, I did it after I'd had them and kind of gave my what I think about them and stuff like that. And I mean, I get comments on that every week, and I've got people say things like, and some are just as innocent of, I didn't know Aldi had that. I'm going to look, I shop at Aldi all the time. I'm going to look, and then people will come back. Yeah, I've got it. It's really great stuff. One person was asking me, they were having a psoriasis outbreak, and they asked me if they thought it was something to do with ingredients in the protein powder. And I'm like, I don't really have any idea, and
you're not a doctor.
Right. I'm having, almost every week I'm having to make comments or reply to comments on that. Because sometimes the comments, they're good. Maybe I'll thumb them up. But as far as replying, that's my most interactive video. Now, I'm fully demonetized now with the YouTube rule changes. I don't have 1,000 subscribers. I was basically at half. I needed to double my subscribers and double my minutes over a year. And when Jeff made an appeal to the fans, I got like 120 new subscribers in a week, and that was it. Right? It peaked, and then now I'm kind of getting 5 or 6 a week. But the early episodes, even now, with as many subscribers as listen to WCBS and watch the podcast or watch his videos, you go look at the old videos. They still have 1,100 views, 700 views, 120 views. And I mean of the show, not his. He's got some old ones on there from when it was just his personal channel. And I agree. Last year is when it kind of, over the course of the year, the more serious Jeff got, it almost felt like the less fun it became for other people. And then when Kendo came along, he had kind of like the missing ideas. So Kendo and LMP and I think a couple others, I think Oggs for president, maybe someone else, had the genesis of the idea for the Fancast. They reached out to Dustin, or somebody did, and somehow my name got sucked into it. And after like the second time Dustin mentioned it, it's like, okay, I don't know what he's talking about, but I'm reaching out to these people and finding out how serious they are. And so I kind of had the the technology to record and bring this together. I have enough bandwidth. I have enough power, a machine with enough RAM and everything else. And I mean, because I got kids and a wife, my internal network here at home is insane. I mean, there are
you're old.
Right. Well, there are businesses who don't have the kind of network I've got, and I still could increase my bandwidth. But I mean, even my wireless network is incredible. I mean, Nick runs an office with the same router I use just for our home, where Nick works. Nick Utam.
Right.
So that ought to tell you the great. Yes, it's not Cisco router, $1,200 routers, but they're serious prosumer routers, because I got kids at game, wife that likes to watch a lot of Netflix and Amazon and all that other stuff, and we got like 3 times as many devices connected as we have people that live in this house.
Right.
So I brought it together. We the first couple episodes, we had our own little imaging, and then Jeff gave us a template. I mean, while you guys were talking, I was actually working on the thumbnail. So, because he sent me a PSD file, and that's what I utilize. So there's a common thread there, but even those old episodes, people don't go back and listen to. And for a while, I was actually listening to the old episodes again, because I started creating a timeline for some of the old ones. And, obviously some of those, like the man from Carcosa, I don't know whatever happened to him. Some of those older fans are kind of out there lurking. But, it's like they built a lot of momentum last year, and it just started to explode. And really, I mean, good grief, in the last, 3 months, they've put on another 10,000 subscribers.
They just hit 25,000.
Oh, yeah. And so my fear is that they're growing too fast, that they're going to, and I don't know how many people are going to be fair weather fans, but we'll see. There's a lot of interaction. They don't read the comments as much as they used to anymore. I'm just hoping, Jeff kind of stays humble with it and doesn't let it get to himself. But, in my view, the ring rust died from inattention, because it would have taken a couple months at least to kind of get out there. And there's also another ring rust, although they have a different, I don't think they have it as one word or two. There's another thing where they do the same kind of thing. But when Jeff and Kendo decided they didn't have the time, which they didn't, because they were starting to do a lot of Schlocktoberfest stuff and other things.
Well, here's the thing, and I hate to interrupt, but here's the thing. They decided to take Wednesdays and make it their Patreon stuff. And the one thing that irks me about that, and maybe they did and maybe I just didn't read it, but I don't think they told anybody that they were switching that to Wednesdays. Yeah, I don't know. Which is where the crux of the issue came. Now, like I said, if indeed he did say something and I overlooked it, that's on me. I overlooked it. Yeah. But to my knowledge, I don't think that he or Kendo told anybody that they were going to take Wednesdays and make that their Patreon night.
Right. Well,
so we were kind of left. We were just kind of left with our dicks in our hands, like, so this isn't happening. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, and I think part of that is,
but honestly, it kind of worked out for me, because I felt like with ring rust, and I'm sorry to keep cutting you off.
No, go ahead.
But with ring rust, the fact that it felt like that they were losing interest, I started losing interest, and I just started using my time for other things. Right. So, I guess in a way it worked out, but
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I do miss it.
Yeah, and I think maybe you guys can record every few weeks, because part of the problem that some wrestling fans, other people have told me, is wrestling is kind of crap, right? Especially when you guys were recording it, it was really crap. And it was like, you could feel it in some of the episodes where the energy wasn't, even between you and Kendo, as you're the most energetic of them all, the two of you, the energy wasn't there, because it's like, well, we had another horrible pay-per-view again, right? And it was like trying to find the 3 nuggets out of the pay-per-view to talk to for however long was really becoming a challenge. And sometimes a lot didn't happen. I mean, the part with the main show, it's almost become the Star Wars channel in many ways. And it's like every freaking day there's more Star Wars news. Rian Johnson runs his mouth yet again. So
what did he say this time? I have to.
Well, the thing about it now is one of the topics that we actually had too was Rian Johnson and the trilogy, which he was promised by Kathleen Kennedy before The Last Jedi came out, and then The Last Jedi came out, and since then there's been some fallout, right? There was Jeff did a video last week of a post that I put out there that was showing some of the real numbers behind it and kind of break down how much does Disney really make off The Last Jedi. And it's in the the $250 to $300 million range. You have, is it Michael Eisner, the CEO of Disney? The board of directors denied his raise. For years, this has been kind of like a rubber stamp. Well, the shareholders aren't happy. You have Johnson out there every week defending his movie, constantly defending his movie, that no one seems to
I don't know why.
get. Right. It's kind of a side thing, as Mark Hamill kind of walked back his comments a little bit. Yet, he's like, apparently at South by Southwest, he was saying, Hamill said something like, he was trying to, treat it as an art. He had to treat it as an art house film, to do the scenes. And I've even seen some videos on, did Hamill really know, that Luke was going to fade away like that? Is that something that got at? In other words, was he, say, meditating for a different scene, thinking there was a different ending? Because apparently, and I haven't seen it, but apparently in the videos that show Mark is all excited at the beginning of The Last Jedi, with the premiere, as they're coming in, he's got excitement, and coming out, he's just dumbstruck. He's low energy, like, holy crap, maybe Ryan pulled a fast one.
I've seen those videos.
Right. So there's some speculation that, they're already kind of ahead that Solo's going to bomb, or be not. And granted, what it's going up against, if Deadpool, I agree, if Deadpool 2 is half as good as the trailer, yeah, I don't even see Solo hitting 600 million, and it might worldwide, I don't know, but domestically, it's going to be, horrible, kind of like the Tomb Raider movie had come out, and. It couldn't even beat Black Panther, which had been out for I forget how many weeks at that point.
Well, speaking of Tomb Raider, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go on. Just talk, man. Go.
No, but I could have sworn the other day I heard on TV that they said that Tomb Raider was the #1 movie in the world right now, and I was like, wait a second, didn't Black Panther get like #1 in the box office again this week?
Shh, nope, sure didn't. Shh, it's okay.
So yeah, I know. I'm not supposed to ask these questions. It's not like
stop it.
Well, is that worldwide?
Well, I don't know. I could have sworn it said worldwide, but I heard #1 movie.
Yeah, I think worldwide, yes, because Black Panther. Because I know it was 23.6 million domestic. It was Tomb Raider. So, but it made like another 100, brought in like another 100 million worldwide.
Okay.
But it's not even made hardly, but the audience reception, I mean, Tomb Raider is now 65% is the audience score, and it's been going down.
I hope it hits a 0. Honestly, I don't derail the conversation, but Loudie, did you watch Death Wish?
No, did not.
Remake.
Oh, damn it, man! I wanted to just ask.
LMP's hard for it, man. You got to watch it.
Oh my god!
I can tell, man. I can feel his chub in my earphone, man. I have to stop. I ask you to stop, man.
It's nowhere near your ear if that's what you're wondering.
But even Death Wish with an 81% audience rating is not bringing in the money.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I mean, it's got an 18% rating from the paid critics and 81% from the audience. I mean, I wonder what the biggest difference is on Rotten Tomatoes between audience and especially to the positive, where the audience.
I could already tell you what it is. The audience score is what it really is, and the critic score is what they want you to believe.
Right. No, but I wonder what the movies have the biggest difference between the two.
We should check the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on, I'm actually going to do that right now.
What a story, Liquid Metal Pro.
What happened? Oh shit!
What a story, Liquid Metal Pro.
Oh.
Okay.
You're an expert, Lape.
Oh hi,
Yeah.
Mark.
Oh hi, Mark. Oh hi, MP.
Oh hi, Metal.
Oh hi, doggy. Oh man.
Hi, doggy.
I can't believe I actually saw that movie.
Hey, I saw it in theaters with my son.
Yeah, I love that movie.
We went and saw The Disaster Artist together, and then when they had the one-day viewing, we went and met up with one of his friends over there, and we had the spoons, but we didn't bring them in. But some people were throwing them.
I got it right here. The Room, tomato meter 26%, audience score 46%.
Yeah, that's not very far apart.
No, it's not very far apart, but I was just curious.
Yeah, the score for the audience score, if you put the audience score with the critic score for the Death Wish remake, it's a palindrome. It's 1881.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, there was a lot of things going against the movie in the first place. One, it was directed by Eli Roth, and I think that already alone turned off a lot of people. It was I think the last movie that he did was Green Inferno, I believe. Which, if anybody wants to watch that movie, it's a really fucked up movie, and there is a lot of gore, but it's tastefully done, believe it or not. But then again, it's also a cannibal flick, so if you're not into that sort of thing, I would advise not to watch it. You will get squeamish at points. So there's that, and then on top of that, like rated R movies are just like recently making a comeback. So this doesn't have anything attached to it, like with Deadpool or anything like that. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of reasons for why it didn't do so well financially, plus Black Panther. But I don't think it deserved not the audience, the critics score it got. I think that was like a coordinated attack. Critics wise, most people that have watched it have enjoyed it. I try to get honest opinions from people. I don't know if you remember when we did when we first talked about it, Brian, and I really had doubts. I thought that movie was gonna suck. I was really prepared, ready to watch it, saying this biggest piece of trash I ever saw. Insult to Bronson. I hope it doesn't miss the point of the message. And then when I finally saw it, I was like, holy shit, Eli Roth, you did something miraculous here. You actually caught the spirit of the original. Now, granted, it's not as great as the original, but you did a fine job. I salute you. And that was me going into it with very low expectations. So,
yep, I remember that.
Yeah, I like completely. I mean, to this very day, thinking back on that, I was like, was it maybe that I thought it was so good because I had such low expectations, or maybe was it that it was good? And then, but when I asked people who saw it, they tell me pretty much the same thing. It was enjoyable. It was a fun movie. It's quotable. Had good scenes. Bruce Willis did a good job. And I'm like, okay, so it's not me. It's not me. It's people do think it's a good movie, but hell, there are people that don't even know it exists. So I really can't blame them because the way it's been marketed, you would think this movie was only going to show up in a limited amount of theaters. So there's a lot going behind it, and I can understand why it didn't do financially so well. But 18% score, I mean, that's got to be a coordinated attack. I mean, that shit happened back during the Gamergate days with the video game journalists. They did a similar stunt, so I wouldn't be surprised if movie reviewers did, colluded amongst themselves and do this sort of thing all the time.
Right.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah. Could be. So one of the things I did want to mention, and I know I put it on the WCBS Facebook page, is I did go back through all of our episodes and find the BBC. Now the BBC thing started as, I think it just started as the Fancaste Hall of Fame. Kendo had an example, and then we had one episode where I think we all each put in different suggestions, because Lucy Lawless was done by Reality's Frank. I think episode 5. I think that's the last I could find. When we started that, because episode 5 we had several. Kelly Brooke, whom I had on the thumbnail. So anyway, I went through them all. I put everybody. They're alphabetized by last name. There's a link to the episode number, and the title of the episode. So that way we know if we accidentally forget one. One thing I do have a question of, and listeners, you can put comments below because I know you're out there. If we have Stephanie on again, should we let her choose a male BBC? And we make that chest, so get your mind out of the gutter. Big beautiful chest for males. All right, I'll take your silence as no. You guys.
Oh, you were asking us.
Yes, I was asking you guys. And the listeners.
Listen, I'm all about the land of equality here. So if she just happens to be on and she wants to have her own BBC in more ways than one, then more power to her. It's America. Yeah. You're free to stay here as long as you want and love any man you choose.
Yeah, because we had her on last week. It was great. It was a good time.
Yes, it was.
Oh,
yeah. So, I just did not know how to respond to that.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm putting it out there that maybe once in every 30 we're not so sexist.
Not happening.
Got a 1 in 30 shot of finding a guy.
Listen, all right. If she is allowed to choose a male BBC in the future, I am expected to choose one too.
So another topic you want to do, LMP, was Clarissa Explains It All, possibly making a comeback. How long do you think you're going to talk on that?
About a quick second. The only thing I want to say is that, yes, we do deserve a sequel of Clarissa Explains It All. It should be called Clarissa Takes Anal. Should last about 90 minutes. I think we're all satisfied with that. Moving on.
Okay. The Men in Black spinoff.
ETB, baby.
The Men in Black spinoff apparently is a TV show. Or no, it's a movie or something. I don't know. I'm
glad we got that far.
Yeah, it's something that well, you brought it up too, LMP. I know Nick brought it up on the show, but I guess I watched the first one, and the second one I thought was so crap I didn't even give the series a chance at the third one. Although apparently the third one's decent. But yeah, it's not bad. I mean, I know how it ends. I know the loop and all that stuff, but I don't know if I want to see another spin-off sequel-ish movie. I know it's not supposed to be a sequel, but I'm kind of, I don't know. I have very unenthusiastic expectations.
Well, if we're lucky, has anybody here ever saw the movie Dirty Work?
No.
Damn.
Who was in it?
Sounds like the name of a porn.
It really isn't. Norm Macdonald and Artie Lang.
Oh, no, I've not seen it.
Oh, my God.
I know who they are, but...
Basically, just to give you a brief synopsis, it's a movie where two guys basically get even with people throughout the entire movie. Eventually, they get even with like a big businessman over some shady tricks that he pulled on them. So they get even, and the thing is, the way they get even is like pretty creative. Like, not without spoiling too much, there was a scene where, they're at a theater, and in order to get even with the manager, I'm not saying what happened, they played a parody movie of Men in Black. So that's what I was hoping somebody would have has seen that movie. So I was gonna make a joke about it, but I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys. I'm gonna let you guys watch this when you get a chance, and it has Chris Farley in it. That's all I'm gonna say.
That was a lot of work just to tell us that you wanted to make a joke.
It's just that there is a joke in there about Men in Black, and I want to say it, but then it's like it's gonna go over your heads because you guys haven't seen the movie.
What a story, Metal.
What a story. Oh man,
it's all right. I didn't listen to any of it, so.
Oh shit, he tuned me out.
No, I was telling my daughter to help with the dogs. That's all.
I'm gonna stop playing Overwatch. It's a trash game.
She's not playing Overwatch at the moment. She wants to play, and I keep telling her, just go ahead. You just can't scream. She gets.
So my little brother plays Overwatch.
Yeah.
Tell her that damn, I got nothing this time. Fuck.
I'm trying to remember how to do curved text in Photoshop.
Tell her to play Madden like a real man.
Tell her no one's on Fortnite right now. She might actually get a win.
She plays that too.
That's false. My little brother. Well, it depends on what system she has. My little brother might be on Fortnite.
She's on PC.
No, he doesn't do that.
Yeah, I don't
It's funny
know.
how that game is become its own meme.
What's become its own meme?
Fortnite. It essentially is. Yeah, it's essentially taken over now. The free-to-play game has taken over. What a century we live in.
So how does anybody make money?
It's only a
off of
matter of time. I'll say it's only a matter of time before they start charging for it.
Oh God! Oh my God! I'm gonna get Fortnite Definitive Edition. $50.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm still playing WoW a little bit, although I'm slowly in the process of getting completely off of it. I had to pay for one more month to finish up some crap, and then I'll be done. So, you talk about a game that costs way too much. So, anyway.
I'm just gonna play
Madden. Yeah, I haven't played sports games since the Sega Genesis.
NBA Jam.
Yeah. I mean, I tried. There was some game that I don't know if it was Xbox. My brother, I forget which system he has. It was an Xbox something or a PS something, but it was a soccer game. And no, yeah, I guess it is because he's like plays in the English league. It's got career mode and crap, but it's a decent game when you play it in that mode. But when you just kind of play like the pickup style, it just, even he was like, this is horrible. So, because the players aren't very good, and it just, but I don't know. The movements are so silly to me. They do all this motion to capture their faces, but all of the movements are wrong. All of they don't know how to animate a human movement correctly yet. It's just so silly.
Yeah, I see that in Madden all the time. Like, I'll be playing Madden, my quarterback will go to throw, and as he's getting hit, his arm literally rotates like 1,080 degrees, and it's like that's not how the human arm works.
No, it isn't.
Just play anything by 2K nowadays, you'll see it's essentially the same.
Yeah,
it really is.
So I got a question for you, LMP.
Uh-huh.
How do you like all these woke Black Panther fans that are trying to figure out how to get to Anaconda or whatever, Anawanda or whatever the name of that country is?
Wakanda?
Wakanda.
Yeah, Anaconda sounds like a better name, probably. I don't know.
My Anaconda don't.
I think it was the name of a horrible movie. Yeah.
Yes, involved Jennifer Lopez, I believe.
Yeah.
Wakanda don't want none.
So you woke Wakandan people. Stop supporting Wakanda. They deported me 3 times already. I'm just trying to get a better life, okay? Me and my people are hungry. Trump is not letting us be in this country anymore, and Wakanda kicked us out. Wakanda sucks. There, I've said my piece.
Zamunda forever.
That's right. Zamunda's a better country.
It really is.
Better looking women, too.
Everyone's out here talking about Wakanda, but they forgot about Zamunda, and it's starting to piss me off.
Yeah.
Well, you know what we need to do?
Move to Zamunda?
Well, we could do that. I was going to say I'll just lead a revolt and try to sneak all of my family members into Wakanda again. All 300 of us. And
I look at it this way, Liquid Metal. You're the closest one to Queens out of all of us. We're going to need you to gather up all the girls from Queens and get us to Zamunda.
I think that can be arranged at some point.
All right.
Well,
that's all? That's all you really had to say? That was it?
Yeah. You thought I was going to go on a whole tangent about Wakanda?
Yeah, I thought you were all fired up when we were going over the topics, and it was like, oh, okay, cool.
Okay, fine. You'll bring it out of me. Jesus.
So she said.
Oh, man. This is why 3 or more people are great on this show.
Yeah. Just remember, you're not paying for the encounter, you're paying for the silence.
You really are.
The sound of silence.
Well,
so where are we right now with this whole Wakanda nonsense at this point? what was it the other day?
Well, people
Somebody posted on the
people still think it's a real place. People are still trying to book flights to Wakanda.
Yeah, people, it came from a Marvel comic. Not everything that's in the paper in the Marvel comics is for real. Okay, just because the majority of Marvel stuff takes place in cities that look like New York does not mean that everything on it is real. Okay, that plot from Logan did not happen in real life. Although the movie,
What?
you know what I'm talking about.
What do you mean it's not real?
It's not real. Okay, that coordinate does not exist. All right. There ain't no haven.
You mean it's not real?
It doesn't exist, okay? There ain't no haven for mutants.
I'm pissed. I guess you're gonna tell me. I guess you're gonna tell me the Watchmen aren't real next, huh? You're gonna tell me that the Watchmen aren't watching me and that nobody's watching the Watchmen, huh? Is that what you're gonna tell me?
The Watchmen have been extinct for decades.
Someone obviously doesn't pay attention to superhero laws.
Oh boy, here we go. What else do you want me to do?
Liquid Metal, you disappoint me.
I have to
You want
tell
me to
you,
shatter more reality?
the Earth is flat.
It
Now
is.
that I believe.
It is. The other day I tripped off and I landed on some other planet. I had to be sent back by plane.
Congress is full
The
of
Earth
reptiles.
is just flat. Reptile Congress. Yeah, the Earth is probably about as flat as Anastasia's curves, and well, we know how flat those aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the Earth has a better shape than Davy Ridley.
Whom?
Davy Ridley.
Who in the blue hell is Davy Ridley? Oh, wait. Oh, Daisy Ridley.
Yes.
I thought you said Davy.
I did
thought
say
I was
Davy.
like, who the fuck is... Oh.
That's what we call her because she has the shape of a 12-year-old boy.
What a story, Lape.
Well, I don't know why Kendo calls her Davy, but he's the one that started it. His fault.
Well,
Kendo gets blamed for everything now.
Okay.
I don't want to bring it back to Ronda Rousey, but why do her and like why does she have that same look on her face that Ronda Rousey always does? Like they're both constipated or like mad at something.
Mouth open and confused.
I don't... Probably. But here's my question. You guys know who Shayna Baszler is, right?
No. But keep
She
talking,
was another
I can look her
UFC
up.
fighter who's now in WWE. Well, Shayna Baszler, apparently she's 37. Doesn't look like she's 37. She looks like she's like 32, but she sounds like she's 12 when she talks. Yeah, she sounds like an angsty teenager. Like, just listen to her talk, and you'll understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it's not the things that she says. It's the sound of her voice. She sounds like an angsty teenager. I'm waiting for her to tell me that she loves My Chemical Romance and that she wants to go to their next Black Parade concert.
Now I got to find one.
Oh man, I mean, he'll kick my ass, but with Brock Lesnar, like, have you ever heard him when he talks sometimes?
Of course I have. He doesn't give a shit about your kids.
Hey, that was one of the highlights of that summer. God, that was a good time.
Here I do my Brock Lesnar scream.
Or one of my favorite
Brock
voice
Lesnar
cracks
out
ever.
here
It's
Brock
gonna be
Lesnar out here doing fucking bird calls.
Goldberg!
Goldberg! Yeah, Brock Lesnar's still going through puberty.
Oh, I don't know how. I mean, Jesus, that man is... I mean, how many roids has that man consumed in a minute?
Dude, I'd be careful. He probably listens to this podcast. He's probably going to whoop your ass.
Oh, shit, he's probably outside my door right now. He's ready to F5 me.
No, he's outside your window stroking himself, thinking about F5ing you.
Equally as disturbing, and I'm pretty sure Paul Heyman is outside my door right now cutting a promo about how I'm going to get my ass kicked.
Yeah, Paul
Probably
Heyman's next to him, just whispering in his ear like, "You're the reigning, defending, undisputed." Oh God! It's all right, Brock. You're the reigning, defending, undisputed, cock-grabbing champion.
Oh man, imagine if they do come looking for us now because of these jokes.
We're all dead.
I will sell out Brian Lape immediately.
Hey. It's all Lape's fault. Lape is anus.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about, so.
Good.
That's all right. You don't need to. Just go with it.
I have a 66 and 2/3 chance of not making it out of this podcast. Is that what you're telling me?
And then you add Kurt Angle to the mix.
Yeah.
Your chances of getting out of here drastic go down.
I mean, normally it's 50-50. Yeah. But I'm a freak.
And then you add Little Pro to the mix.
Yeah. You got a 33 and 1/3 chance. Yeah, 33 and 1/3 chance of not understanding. I actually found that when they were talking about that when I was doing the timeline today, and I'm like, what the heck are they talking about? And then I found that, is it Scott Ridley? Is that the guy's name?
Scott Steiner.
No, Scott Steiner.
Scott Steiner. Yeah, I knew it was Scott something. I thought I still had it in my browser, but I don't. But yeah, I found an interview where he was talking about, oh, that was so funny. I was like, oh my gosh, these guys are doing exactly what he's.
They say all men are created equal. Well, you take me, you take Samoa Joe, you'll see that statement is not true. Normally, when you go one-on-one with another man, you have a 50-50 chance of winning. But I have a 66 and 2/3 chance of winning because Kurt Angle knows he can't beat me. And he's not even going to try.
Yeah. That poor lady that he was talking to, that short blonde, whatever her name was. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Let me guess, you're one of those women that likes feelings and whatnot. Well, I think Samoa Joe's a nice guy. Shut up. One of my favorite Scott Steiner moments is when he was in the WWE. He was only in there for a few years because he didn't like the way things were going down with Triple H and whatnot. But one of his first times being like in a WWE, like in the WWE, like the night after he debuted, he literally goes to like one of the production crew that's ringside and says, "Give me a fucking mic," and they didn't bleep it out, and you could hear it plain as day. It was great.
I remember hearing that live.
Give me a fucking mic. Oh man, those were the days back when WWE was not a publicly traded company and it wasn't pure shit.
I think that was a nail in the coffin right there.
Oh yeah, so here's the thing: they became a publicly traded company. They switched to PG, and because stockholders don't like unpredictability, that's why all their promos are now scripted. Nothing comes from the head. Nothing comes from the heart. It's because no one likes it when things are unpredictable, and they're like, I don't know, this is going to affect my money. I can't have this. Predict what they say.
So this is how we got a WrestleMania match, all based on a fat joke.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I that makes sense to me. I think this is why there's a good chance that Disney might say, you know what, we're not going to make any more Star Wars movies. We'll see. But they're going
to buy the WWE too. Watch out.
Yeah. Well.
Oh my God. I was just thinking it just now.
By God, it's Mickey Mouse. It's Mickey Mouse. I'm going to kick your ass. Ha
And have Donald Duck on the other side of the ring.
I can't do a Donald Duck impersonation.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about that.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. If they were to buy out the WWE, like you would have a crossover month when they have the Star Wars cast, and I'm not talking about like Mark Hamill or Harrison Ford, but like John Boyega and Davey Ridley tag teaming against, I don't know, who can they embarrass next week?
John Cena and Nikki Bella.
Who would go over in that match?
It would be a draw, so nobody's feelings get hurt.
Okay, that is probably the correct answer to that question.
And then the Miz would come out and cut a real life promo saying how everything sucks.
God bless the Miz. He's keeping things real. I think that's probably part of the reason why I still watch. The only guy that actually speaks with any emotion nowadays and keeps it real. Please, Vince.
Someone in a wrestling group that I'm in said that he's like this day's like CM Punk. I'm gonna say kind of, but not really, only because like I hear some of the promos he cuts and I can see where they might get that idea, but CM Punk stuff I feel like was more impactful.
Well, it was. With Punk, there was the whole thing. Like Punk generally felt like you could hear it in his voice. Like he had a major grievance with the company. Like he was ready to walk out at any moment, which eventually happened. Which is part of the reason I stopped watching wrestling once he left, because it's like, damn, the guy who legitly sounded like he hated it, like he hated everything that was going on, left. Like nothing else generated my interest anymore. Nothing else generated me to want to watch again.
I remember being over a buddy's house for that Royal Rumble back in 2014. And when he was down to like the final four, I'm like, shit, he might win, because it was him, Batista, Dean Ambrose, and Roman Reigns. And that was the point where everybody actually wanted Roman Reigns to win, because nobody wanted to see fucking Batista win it in main event WrestleMania. Like, you just fucking came back. Nobody wants to see this. And I'm over here like, oh shit, CM Punk. All right, cool. And then all of a sudden, next thing I know, here comes Kane pulling him over the rope, and you can just see it in his face at the time after he got eliminated. Like, yeah, he gets put through a table, but you can just kind of like see it in his body language, like, fuck this, I'm done. I'm getting the fuck out of here, and you guys can't stop me. And then the next night, like, I'm watching Raw, and all of a sudden I'm like reading up, and people are like, yeah, so CM Punk pretty much just walked out of Raw before it even started. And I'm like, pardoname, what? And so there you go. And then that was the last we ever heard of
Phillip Brooks, I think is his name.
Yeah, Philly Bob Brooks, unfortunately, in the WWE ring. So
yeah, it's kind of where my emotion died for a while, and I only got back recently. Like the last 2 years? But I can't compare the two. Not to shit on Miz or anything, but he doesn't sound like he's upset at the company or anything. He just sounds like he just speaks from the heart. And he sends his character. Whereas Punk sounds like he was really legitimately putting out his grievances out on the floor and just letting the world know, and like he didn't give a damn what anybody said.
Yeah,
like
some of my favorite interactions of CM Punk are with John Laurinaitis, because John Laurinaitis literally was the embodiment of the man, and CM Punk. Like, my favorite interaction of his with Laurinaitis comes after his tag match that he had with Mick Foley, and then all of a sudden Laurinaitis comes out and he's like, "Oh yeah, you just inserted yourself in the match, so I'm going to reverse the decision," and these guys won. And all of a sudden CM Punk goes up and grabs the mic out of his hand, and he starts yanking on his suit. "Oh, you don't like it when I do that, do you?" And it's like, it is just one of the most pure moments, because you can see it in CM Punk's eyes that he believed what he felt, obviously, which made me believe what he felt. And you just don't see that anymore, which is part of the reason why wrestling blows dick. I mean, I don't know if you heard, but Daniel Bryan just got medically cleared to come back and wrestle after retiring, and he had a spot with I don't know if you watched SmackDown or not this past week, but he had a spot with so you saw the spot that he had with Owens and Zayn, and just the look in his face after he got his shine in, after he did his spot, like, just his face, I'm like, there it is. Like, you believed it, you saw it, and you felt it, and it gave me goosebumps, because it was like, he's back, and he's believing it, he's believing what he's doing, and he's feeling it with so much passion, it almost makes you feel it too. And I sound like a fucking, giddy ass schoolgirl right now, but it's just like,
yes, you do.
It's just one little, yeah. Oh, fuck off. But no, it's just one of those. It's just one of those brief moments that, like, it's one of those special things, and you're never going to see anything like that again. So you just got to cherish it for what it's worth.
No, I agree with you. I mean, that can be applied to anything nowadays. Whether it be comic books, I mean, let's get into comic books for a minute, right?
Go for it.
Give a few. For example, back in college, it was the first time I read the Infinity Gauntlet. I probably would say I just started getting into comic books again. As a kid, I didn't really read them much, but here and there, I would occasionally read some X-Men. My mom did not. My mom and my parents were the kind of people that, especially with my mom, she was the kind of person that if people told her a certain thing was bad for your child, she would listen to what they had to say. So when they would tell her, "Oh, this child's troubled because he reads comic books and everything," she would believe it. So she didn't want that stuff. I was I was into movies where guys have guns and shot one another. Clint Eastwood, Schwarzenegger, Stallone, you name it, right?
Right.
So comic books. I was getting back into comic books in college. I was reading it. Some people said, "Hey, you might want to start here. Hey, you might want to read this." And I worked at a library at that time, so we had access to paperbacks that were available for circulation. So one day, they brought in the Infinity Gauntlet. Everybody here has read that, right?
No. That's one of those things that, I was not helpful with world-class bullshitters. My comic book knowledge was, 0 or less.
Well, what I'm about to spoil probably is not going to happen in the movie anyways, but there was a scene, there was basically one of the biggest oh shit moments, and it really starts off the bat in that, I think, what was that? I think 7 issues of that comic, 7 or 8, something like that. Usually that's how long a lot of these important events last for anyway. Yeah, story arcs. I think it was like in the very first issue was that Thanos wipes away half of the Marvel universe just with a mere thought.
Mm-hmm.
And you just see them like fade away one by one. And this leads basically to this is basically the reason for why everybody gets involved in the fight later on. Now, one of the crazier moments, and the moments that led me like, oh shit, this is like, I've never seen anything like this before, was where I'm trying to remember, I think it was to impress Lady Death. Thanos creates a female version of him, I think. I don't remember what he called her. But he basically created a female. What was no, it wasn't Nebula. I think Nebula was there, but she was like incapacitated or something. Or maybe it was. I don't remember. I don't remember too well. My memory of it is a bit fuzzy. But what I do remember was that she goes to fight Tony Stark, and he is in the Iron Man outfit. A few panels later, you see her on top of him with her hands over her hands on this temple. Like, it looks like she's like trying to crush it or something. A few panels later, you see the body on the ground missing its. From what I remember, the body is missing its head, and she has it in its hands, presenting it to Thanos. I was like, no fucking way. I had never seen anything like that. So
she pulled off Tony Stark's head?
Yes, with the straight off the suit. Like, she tore that thing off. Like, there was like no gratuitous blood or anything like that I can remember. But what I do remember is her presenting it to Thanos, and me just like staring in awe, like, holy shit, this isn't gonna end well, is it? And then we have like other scenes where Wolverine is like Thanos turns Wolverine's adamantium into rubber, and he just falls to the ground in a puddle. You're just going scene after scene after scene, like, holy hell, how is this going to end? I'm not thinking, oh, hey, this is cleverly written or anything like that. I'm thinking to myself, holy shit, can anybody stop this fucking guy? Like, that's what you're supposed to, as a fan, feel. You're supposed to feel, you're not supposed to think about, hey, how does this impact you or anything like that half the time. Yeah, towards the end, that's how you reflect on it. But you're not supposed to be thinking about it at that very moment. At that very moment, you should be thinking, holy shit, what's going on here? What's going to happen next? Why should I keep reading? It's the same thing how I felt about wrestling. Like, I shouldn't have to stop and think, is this good? Is this bad? Or anything like that. No, you should make me feel something and make me feel something so incredible that it's like, okay, I have to be here for next week. I have to see what happens next week. Like, when they did those moments that were oh shit moments, like, for example, going back to not necessarily go to the Attitude Era. We still had it in the Ruthless Aggression era, where Cena was destroying everybody left and right. And yeah, I was a big Cena fan for a very long time. I've kind of toned it down the last couple of years, but I'm like, you know what? Meh, I don't hate him, but I don't put him on a pedestal or anything. But one of the most incredible moments was when somebody told me the next day after, I didn't watch that New Year's Revolutions, but the next day after they told me, oh, Edge is the champion. And I'm like, Edge is the champion? How the fuck was Edge the champion? He wasn't even in that match. And then like thinking about it, I'm like, wait a second. No way. I remember, I think we had, I forgot what download programs were available at that time. I think it was like Kaz or LimeWire or something like that. I remember going on that, downloading that match. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just gave myself away to the, I don't know who monitors that on the internet, but fuck you guys. This happened in the past, so fuck you guys. And I remember downloading that match, and I remember watching that entire thing from start to finish. I'm like, okay, and then it's not until that moment that Vince comes out and everything is made abundantly clear. Wait a second, the Money in the Bank, holy shit, what's going to happen to now? And I was thinking to myself that Monday afternoon when I got home from school, Edge is champion. I got to watch Raw tonight. Like, there's no other way around it. I have to watch Raw. And just watching that story play itself out from that point on. Like, that's how entertainment should work. Like, it shouldn't have to make you just pause and think every single minute, oh, what's the narrative here? What's going on here? Those are things you really should reflect on after the fact. It should be giving you a story, a concrete story. It should be telling a narrative. It should be telling, and like, I think it was, I don't know if you ever seen this video. It's a very good video that Ted DiBiase once put out, Loudie, where he described what he felt was part of the reason of what happened with Owen Hart, the tragedy. That Owen Hart truly believed wrestling was about telling the story of a good guy versus bad guy, good and evil, the traditional story. Like how good will overcome evil. Why are they fighting in the first place? The good guy and the bad guy, the heel and the face. So that's how traditionally I grew up, enjoying entertainment. Anything that had to do with a good story, whether it was comic books, whether it was video games, whether it was movies, anything, you name it. You're meant to feel that emotion. You're meant to feel that excitement, that wow, that awe, that shock, that fear, whatever emotion you can think of. And it's supposed to draw you into it. It's supposed to immerse you into it. Like, you're going to cheer for the protagonist. You're going to cry if he falls, if he dies, if he succeeds, whatever. I'm not getting that from wrestling nowadays. That's part of the reason that's part of the reason why people are cheering heels, because the heels are starting to make more sense.
Yeah, it's like, and I feel like that's really all part of growing up. It's like, as a kid, and I was having this argument with my dad, and because he's a huge Hulk Hogan fan, and I was like, growing up is cheering on Hulk Hogan as a kid, but then as you're getting older, realizing, hey, Ric Flair actually made a lot of sense. And he's like, no, man, Hulk Hogan forever, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, Dad, think about it. And I'm breaking it down for him why I'm like, this is why Ric Flair always is and always will be better than Hulk Hogan. He just wasn't hearing it. But, it's just one of those things where, as a kid, you're like, oh, I'll take my vitamins, say my prayers, drink my milk, and I'll be big and strong like Hulk Hogan. But you're like, holy shit, no. I want to have as much money and fuck as many women as Ric Flair is. Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Give me that lifestyle any day.
Absolutely. And that was one of those things that I watched the ESPN 30 for 30 on Ric Flair. It was by far one of my favorite 30 for 30s. And one of my favorite promos of his that I didn't hear until then, is he's at his house and he's world heavyweight champion. He's like, I got the big house on the big side of town. I have life practically the way I want it. And like, you just see the intensity in his eyes, the bass in his voice. And it's just like, as an adult, you just buy into that. 'Cause it's like, that's what I need to be. That's what I want to be. So, granted, it's like, great. Hulk Hogan's all well and good, don't get me wrong, but Ric Flair starts to make a lot more sense the older you get.
No, it does. I mean, if let's bring it back to Hogan for a quick second. I mean, I still like Hulk Hogan at the end of the day, but when you look at a little bit into like some of the backstage stuff that happened with Hogan, and there are people that prefer Macho Man over Hogan, me especially, Macho Warrior. I'm bigger fans of them than I was Hulk Hogan. I mean, I love Hogan, don't get me wrong, but as far as who made me believe more in the product, who made me like I there was a dream that I've had that I wanted to be a wrestler growing up. That never actually happened, but I remember attributing that part of that to those guys. With Hulk Hogan, yeah, like growing up, I don't feel like I'm the biggest. I was still as much as a fan of Hogan as I was still with Macho, still with Warrior, but
Right.
and it was only a couple years ago when Hulk Hogan kind of like recaptured some of that magic from when I was a child, when I was a big fan of him, and that was when he had another opposing force against him. This time it wasn't even a wrestler, and that was the whole Gawker thing. That's all of a sudden when you find a little bit of that magic coming back again, because it was a more
Right.
relatable experience. It wasn't no longer Hulk Hogan as a character going up against whatever heel that they had him going up this week. It was this guy who basically was wronged by a larger entity who thinks that they can just do whatever the hell they wanted and not save the repercussions. So all of a sudden,
Right.
it's like that magic came back for a brief moment of time, and since then it's kind of died down because really, what else has he been doing? What else has he been up to? Nothing really. And you can only piggyback so much on the stuff that you've done in the past. But growing up, like you said, definitely Ric Flair starts to make a lot more sense. Like, damn, I want to be like Ric Flair. I want to have all that. I want to have all these loose women after me and everything like that. I want to have the house wherever I say it should be built. I want to have the belt. I want to be that guy. And it's kind of like you start looking a little bit more into it, and you start realizing, damn, a lot of these other guys start making a lot more sense now thinking about it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't even think there's any way we can't argue that we wouldn't want to be Macho Man. Tough guy, great in the ring, had the gorgeous wife at one point.
Yeah.
Jesus. I would have wanted to have a
yeah.
dream of the crop. Or one of my favorite moments.
The cream always rises to the top. Oh yeah.
I'm not talking.
What the fuck?
I'm trying to do this. Not talking.
I'm talking to you, Jack Tunney. Oh yeah. Now freak out, man.
Oh man, I was watching some old Macho Man promos last week, and I'm like, Jesus, that man really knew how to get a crowd going.
Yeah, he did.
God bless his soul.
You guys done with your nostalgia trip?
No.
Yeah, I'm done with my nostalgia trip.
All right.
Damn it! Why didn't you?
Come on,
say
Liquid
yes?
Metal. We gotta reel it back in, man.
All right, fine.
Well, I got one more topic to cover in my own. It had nothing to do with wrestling or Star Wars.
Great. What is it?
So
Shoot it, Goose.
We can use this one and close this out. So, as some of the listeners may know, I know a thing or two about beer. I actually make beer from time to time when I'm not so busy, and I'm trying to get back into a little bit more now that I have another audience. The WCBS guys, as well as some people that I work with now. But Loudie's had some of my homebrew, and some of it someone drank. You still don't know who did it. But anyway,
Yeah.
So I did I was down in Atlanta, back down in early February, and I met up with Nick, and he gave me a bunch of beers to review for up here, and one of them was with Southern Sky Brewery, and I had a very interesting. It was one of my longer beer reviews because it was more of a critique as well as how I thought they did it. I had some information off the can before I opened it. So the short of it is both the head brewer and the owner of this brewery have gotten back to me, one via YouTube and one via Facebook. And I was very, very close to guessing how they made that beer. I couldn't decide if they were two recipes that kind of knew about each other and they made it together and then fermented together, or if it was two separate. The main reason why I kind of fell on the separate side was the yeast, the carbonation from the yeast was very even, and that's pretty hard to do. Usually one of the yeasts will take over from the other, but they didn't, and because the bubbles were different, which is what told me that I have two different yeasts that are also contributing to the carbonation. So if you want to watch that video, if you really want to know my level of beer nerdiness, I get into some unbelievable details just by tasting it. So it was an Irish red ale and a Belgian blonde kind of. It was more of a Belgian wheat. They apparently were using the Belgian wheat yeast. The guy that's the owner of that brewery was a home brewer, and he kind of gave me some inside baseball knowledge via Facebook on how some of that stuff was done. So it was done together. My first suspicion was correct. Two recipes that knew about each other, but as a result of that, as well as encountering a new style of beer, it's actually finally been accepted by the beer judging society, or whatever they call themselves. And that's the New England, or sometimes known as a Northeastern IPA. So, have you guys encountered this style at all?
I might have. It sounds familiar.
It's a cloudy.
I usually don't drink IPAs.
Right. It's not as bitter as a normal IPA. It's they call them juicy. It's how many times there's a lot of hop additions, but it's very the fruity and more hops, more flavorful hops. The bitterness is only like in the 35 to 50 range. So for an IPA, it's about half the bitterness that you're accustomed to, maybe even less. They're cloudy. They're really good. They're becoming popular right now. So I'm actually doing some research right now to formulate my own recipe. So what the things that I need to do, one is I've got to make kind of a version 3 of my Belgian porter. That was one of the ones that we reviewed at Phil's house back in December. Unfortunately, I don't think you were there.
I was not.
And that's right, you had some boyfriend duties to attend to that day, I think.
I did.
But
I had to be a good boyfriend that weekend.
Yeah. So I need to make that one again. I need to kind of tweak the mashing on it. I didn't quite get the yield I wanted. And I also am going to start making a New England IPA. So I'll have more beer to give to people that are local.
I can do that.
And unfortunately, I don't work downtown anymore, so we'll have to figure something out.
Yeah, you did, you bastard.
I work in Norwood now. I work in the metropolis of Norwood.
Norwood?
Yeah.
Man.
Paycor. I literally work across the street from where my wife used to work. She worked there for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. I'm not even sure how long. But now she's only part-time and they've moved. They're up Smith Road closer to Rookwood Commons or Rookwood Center or something. So, but yeah, it's funny. So all this time I was driving downtown and she was driving there. And now if she was still working and they were still there, we could carpool.
Yeah.
So, no. I got a question.
Go ahead.
I got a question. When Prohibition comes, are you going to be supplying people?
Yeah, probably.
Prohibition better not come. I'll be fucking pissed.
Apparently, I have some distant cousins who were known to do that in Cincinnati during Prohibition.
Really?
Yeah. And apparently, at least if my cousin's research is right, my grandfather was adopted, so he never knew his birth family. But because they were essentially my birth great grandfather abandoned the family, and the mother he was the youngest child of I forget how many. But if her research is correct as to who our birth family is, my grandfather's grandfather was a brewer too. He worked here in Cincinnati. He was born in Bavaria. We don't know where. Interestingly enough,
home of the ham.
Right, his adopted grandfather, Johann, was also born in Bavaria, Vilseck. So, I mean, Bavaria was the largest state. Well, still is the largest state of Germany. Back then, it would have been its own city-state. So it's a pretty big area. So they could have been, a couple hundred miles apart. But I don't know. But I think it's pretty weird. But and there's some other cousins and things that were brewers, and some that may have been a bit notorious during Prohibition.
Mm.
So it might be in my blood, man.
So you're gonna be the new Baron, beer Baron. Why almost do that?
I don't know. So, all right.
That was a bot.
So I'm, and I'll be working on that and be hopefully talking about it as well. And I like formulating recipes. It's part of it is I got to understand. There's kind of a dispute of what makes it cloudy. My first take on some of the better varieties, it was a low, what they call attenuation, is how well the yeast falls out of sediment, out of solution. And a higher attenuating yeast will fall out pretty well, and it won't easily stir and mix in, whereas a low one will easily be disturbed and kind of make a beer cloudy. Your Hefeweizen and stuff like that tend to be like that. Apparently that's one source, but the other source is with the use of high protein grains, in particular oat. And we're talking 15-20% of the grist, which even if for an oatmeal stout is only probably 5 to 10%. That's a lot. And that protein is, we used to call it chill haze. You try to avoid that. Now there's a style where you're trying to put that back in. It's pretty funny. So that's part of why I'm going to do a little bit more research, get some more samples of some of the better rated ones and understand where the cloudiness. I tend to like the yeast side of things. With the right yeast, you also are going to get some other fruity flavors to impart to the style itself. So I'm kind of falling in that category, but we'll see. So any other topics before we close this out and say goodnight, since it's past midnight?
No, not really. I thought I would have something else to say about Wakanda other than boycott them. Boycott them all.
So if there's nothing else, we'll get to the BBC and we'll get out of here. All right?
Yes, I got a fat session coming.
Yes, and I will share with you guys the thumbnail when we're done recording. So, Anastasiya Kvitko is our BBC this week. She is a Russian glamour model with proportions that defy explanation. And she's 5'9", 23 years old. And I have no idea if she has a boyfriend. She's from Kaliningrad, Russia. So look her up.
She's not from Stalingrad.
Yeah. Yeah, Kalinin. There's two N's. Kalinin. Grad. Ruski. And
Broski.
Although, well, see, there's a dispute on her height because Wikipedia is claiming she's only 5'5", and she feels a little shorter than 5'9" to me. But hey, don't know.
Oh, have you touched her?
Only with my mind.
Only with my mind.
So let's put it this way. According to another site, so according to Reddit, she's 5'5" and 56 kilograms, and her approximate measurements are 36 double D, 23, 38. I can read numbers as well as Jeff can read names. All right, let's close this puppy out and get to the bumper music. So I have been your ever-driving host, Brainmuffin, the goofball nerd, and we've had... Go ahead, Loudie, close this out.
I've been the Coach Loudie. Don't forget to touch yourself inappropriately and always eat the butt.
LMP, come on. Wake up.
That'll take care of those. Oh, fuck. I was supposed to say that after the credits.
All right. Cue the music, and we're out of here.